I hope this is working now. Son of a gun, I've had the worst time. My computer just completely craps out on me. The microphone's gone, just absolutely gone. My Surface Book, and I'm got a blue snowball Yeti, whatever they're called. Anyway, I'm trying to get. Now I'm doing this on my phone, which I'm sure is great, and I'd like to grab the debate screen, and for some reason I can't get it. And Kamal is talking right now. I'm watching Fox News streaming on YouTube. And the thought that I'd be sitting here right now, I know to make her proud. Must be looking down. Joe and I were raised in a very similar way. We were raised with. How's that? Kamala said her and Joe are raised in a similar way. Yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah, you're elected because of why? How'd you get your breaks, honey? I thought you were Indian. Ain't you from India? Not black? It's funny, if you have a deep enough tan, you can be anything nowadays. Golly, I can't believe this stupid thing. I'll tell you about our intelligence committee. And I think Joe has asked me to serve with him because he knows that we share a purpose, which is about lifting up the American people. And after 4 years that we have seen Donald Trump unifying our country around our common values.
Thank you, Senator. Yes.
All right, let's see here.
Vice President Biden has released a sort of detailed health information that had been the modern norm until the 2016 election. And in recent days,
What am I doing?
this information
Aaron? Am I working? Is it working? No. Is it working now? How am I not? How did I do this? Oh, is it working now? Oh, thank gosh. Oh, I'm so mad. Why can I not? What? Hello? Okay. So now I just came up and said, "Oh, my phone, your device has lost its camera." I'm like, I wasn't even using the camera. Mike Pence is awesome. Race Bannon.
which is voters have a right to know more detailed health information about presidential candidates and especially about presidents, especially.
Yeah, they're gonna have to say what's wrong with Joe Biden. Mm. Oh no, no, that's not what she asked. She didn't ask about taxes.
I literally said, "You mean $750,000?" And it was like, no, $750. We now know Donald Trump owes and is in debt for $400 million. And just so everyone's
So
when we say in debt, it means you owe money to somebody.
yeah.
And it'd be really
So
good to know who the president of the United States, the
I'm in debt for lots of things.
What is influencing the president's decisions?
People are in debt for their cars. They're in debt for their mortgage. They're in debt for their student loans. They're in debt for a whole bunch of stuff. Dental bills. That's a good one.
Over many, many years. The one thing we all know about Joe, he puts it all out there.
Joe puts it all out there. Yeah, he does. You know, Joe is a nudist. He swims naked every day.
Thank you, Senator Harris. I want to give you a chance to respond.
Well, look, I respect the fact that Joe Biden spent 47 years in public life, and I respect your public service as well. The American people, the next president, is a businessman. He got here.
Yeah.
Tens of millions of dollars in taxes.
Yeah, that's right. He's paid more in taxes than Kamala ever will.
Thousands of American jobs. The president said this, public reports are not accurate. And the president's also released literally stacks of financial disclosures the American people can review. Well, before I leave that, let me speak to voting records if I can. You know, everybody knows that NAFTA cost literally thousands of American factories to close. We saw automotive jobs go south of the border. President Trump fought to renegotiate NAFTA. And the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement is now the law of the land. American people deserve to know Senator Kamala Harris was one of only 10 members of the Senate to vote against the USMCA. It was a huge win for American auto workers. It was a huge win for American farmers, especially dairy in the upper Midwest. But Senator, you said it didn't go far enough.
Oh, is this working now? Oh, finally.
You put your
Oh my gosh.
agenda
Why is this so big?
ahead of American auto
There we
workers
go.
and ahead
Oh,
of jobs. The American
this
people
has
deserve to
been
know
a
that. That's
nightmare.
probably why Newsweek magazine
This
said
has
that
been an
Kamala Harris was
absolute
the most
nightmare.
liberal member of the United States Senate in 2019. More liberal than Bernie Sanders, more liberal than any of the others in the United States Senate. So now with regard to China, look, Susan, first and foremost, China is to blame for the coronavirus. And President Trump is not happy about it. He's made that very clear.
Did she just give a smug look?
China and the World Health Organization did not put.
Is she gonna? Oh, please tell me she's gonna come back and say China is not to blame.
Into China to get information on the coronavirus until the middle of February. Fortunately, President Trump, in dealing with China from the outset of this administration, standing up to China that had been taking advantage of America for decades in the wake of Joe Biden's cheerleading for China, President Trump made that decision before the end of January to suspend all travel from China. And again, the American people deserve to know Joe Biden opposed President Trump's decision to suspend all travel from China. He said it was hysterical. He said it was xenophobic. But President Trump has stood up to China. We're going to continue to stand strong.
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
We want to improve the relationship, but we're going to level the playing field and we're going to hold China accountable for what they did to America with the coronavirus.
Thank you. Senator Harris, let me ask you the same question that I asked the Vice President. How would you describe our fundamental relationship with China? Are we competitors, adversaries, enemies? You'll have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Susan, the Trump administration's perspective and approach to China has resulted in loss of American lives, American jobs, and America's standing.
Finally.
There's a weird obsession that President Trump has had with getting rid of whatever accomplishment was achieved by President Obama and Vice President Biden. For example, they created within the White House an office that basically was responsible for monitoring pandemics. They got away, they got rid of it.
Not true.
There was a team of disease experts that President Obama and Vice President Biden dispatched to China to monitor what is now predictable and what might happen. They pulled them out. We now are looking at 210,000 Americans who have lost their lives. Let's look at the job situation. We mentioned before the trade deal, the trade war, they wanted to call it, with China. It resulted in the loss of over 300 manufacturing jobs and a manufacturing recession, and the American consumer paying thousands of dollars more for goods because of that failed war that they called it. Then let's talk about standing. Pew, a reputable research firm, has done an analysis that shows that leaders of all of our formerly allied countries have now decided that they hold in greater esteem and respect Xi Jinping, the head of the Chinese Communist Party, than they do Donald Trump, the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief of the United States. This is where we are today because of a failure of leadership by this administration.
Senator Harris, we've seen changes in the role of the United States in terms of global leadership over the past 4 years. And of course, times do change. What's your definition? We've seen strains with China, of course, as the Vice President mentioned. We've seen strains with our traditional allies in NATO and elsewhere. What is your definition of the role of American leadership in 2020?
So, Joe is. I love talking with Joe about a lot of these issues, and Joe.
I like how
I
she's
think he
like,
said it quite well.
she's
He
been
said,
trained to
foreign
smile like
policy, it
this,
might sound
where it's like she has
complicated,
this
but really it's
schoolgirl
relationships. This is about
crush
relationships.
on Joe.
And so we know this in our personal and professional relationships. You got to keep your word to your friends. Got to be loyal to your friends. People who've stood with you, got to stand with them.
Oh, now they're going after Trump
Gotta know
because
who
of that
your
stupid
adversaries are.
attorney.
Keep them in check. But what we have seen with Donald
You know what? Someone who works for you is not your
is
friend.
that he has betrayed our friends and embraced dictators around the world. Let's take, for example, Russia. So,
Oh, Pence is gonna
Russia,
nail
I
her.
serve on the intelligence
Oh, look at
community
him.
of
That's
the
the
United
most
States
emotion I've
Senate.
ever seen out of Pence.
America's intelligence
That's awesome.
community told us Russia interfered in the election of the President of the United States in 2016 and is playing in 2020. Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI, said the same. But Donald Trump, the commander-in-chief of the United States of America, prefers to take the word of Vladimir Putin over the word of the American intelligence community. You look at our friends at NATO. He has walked away from agreements. You can look at the Iran nuclear deal, which now has put us in a position where we are less safe because they are building up what might end up being a significant nuclear arsenal. We were in that deal, guys. We were in the Iran nuclear deal with friends, with allies around the country. And because of Donald Trump's unilateral approach to foreign policy, coupled with his isolationism, he pulled us out and has made America less safe. So, Susan, it's about relationships. And the thing that has always been part of the strength of our nation, in addition to our great military, has been that we keep our word. But Donald Trump doesn't understand that because he doesn't understand what it means to be honest.
Oh gosh, yeah,
you,
4
Senator
years.
Harris.
I mean,
Vice
4
President,
years, and it's like, oh, he doesn't understand. To be honest,
Thank you.
you know, he's been on
President Trump kept his word
TV,
when he
he's
moved
been
the
there
embassy to Jerusalem,
on Twitter, he's
capital
been
of the
everywhere,
state of Israel.
and you're just sitting here,
Joe Biden was vice
blah
president.
blah blah blah
He
blah.
promised to do
He's
that.
not honest.
stood
I
strong
mean, honestly,
with our allies.
you're
But we've
just
been demanding.
literally it's
NATO is
shotgun
now
blast
contributing more to our common
arguments
defense than
where you just
ever
throwing
before,
everything
thanks
out
to
there against the
President
wall,
Trump's
and you have
leadership.
something that
We've
sticks.
strengthened our alliances across the Asia
Oh,
Pacific.
this is gonna be good.
And we've stood strong against those who would do us harm. You know, when President Trump came into office, ISIS had captured an area of the Middle East the size.
Yeah, there is no
of
ISIS.
Pennsylvania. But President Trump unleashed the American military, and our armed forces destroyed the ISIS caliphate and took down their leader, al-Baghdadi, without one American casualty. Al-Baghdadi was responsible for the death of thousands. But notably, America's hearts today are with the family of Kayla Mueller, the parents of which are here with us tonight in Salt Lake City. Today, two of the ISIS killers responsible for Kayla Mueller's murder were brought to justice in the United States. Jihadi John was killed in the battlefield along with the other beater. The reality is that when Joe Biden was vice president, we had an opportunity to save Kayla Mueller. It breaks my heart to reflect on it, but the military came into the Oval Office, presented a plan. They said they knew where Kayla was. Baghdadi had held her for 18 months, abused her mercilessly before they killed her. But when Joe Biden was vice president, they hesitated for a month. And when armed forces finally went in, it was clear she'd been moved 2 days earlier. And her family says with...
Man, I'll tell you what, what's the Donald doing tonight?
If President Donald Trump had been president, they believe Kayla would be alive today.
Thank you, Vice
Look, we
President.
destroyed
If you
the
don't check
ISIS
out the
caliphate.
Donald.win, you are
And
missing
we talk
out.
about re-entering the Iran nuclear deal. I mean, the last administration transferred $1.8 billion to the leading state sponsor
Thank you, Vice
of
President.
terrorism. President Donald Trump got us out of the
Thank you,
deal.
Vice President Pence.
And when Qasem Soleimani was traveling to Baghdad
Thank you,
to
Vice
harm
President
to Americans, President Donald Trump took
Thank you,
him
Vice
out.
President Pence.
And America is safer. Our allies are safer. And the American people know President Donald Trump will never have
Thank you,
to
Vice President.
take action.
I would like to give Senator Harris a chance to respond, but not at such great length, because of course there are other topics we want to talk
But
about.
I would like equal time.
Yes,
Thank you.
please.
I would like equal time.
First of all, to the Mueller
It's all
family,
about equal equality and stuff. I would like equal time. I mean, she's trying to force it in
I'm
places.
so sorry.
She's heard
What
that
happened to
before.
was awful. And it should have never happened. And I know Joe feels the same way. And I know that President Obama feels the same way. But you mentioned Soleimani. Let's start there. So after the strike on Soleimani, there was a counter strike on our troops in Iraq. And they suffered serious brain injuries. And do you know what Donald Trump dismissed them as? Headaches. And this is about a pattern of Donald Trump.
What?
Where he has referred to our men who are serving in our military as suckers and losers.
Oh, dude, that's a lie. I mean, that is a made up thing. Nobody, except for the one person who put that up there, can find it. You know what? Kamala Harris likes to sit on unicorns.
Because
how about that one?
You know, he only thinks about what's in it for him.
I don't know if it's real or not. I heard it. It was insider information. She likes to ride unicorns.
And Donald Trump says he doesn't deserve
the unicorn farm of
because he was a prisoner of war. And this is very important.
Oh, look, she's doing the Bill Clinton. Do the Bill Clinton fist. This is when you're passionate about something.
What they care about and what they don't care about. Public reporting that Russia had bounties on the heads of American
Again, it's
soldiers.
never been found true. Our
Somebody puts a price on your head
intelligence
and they will pay
community
it
never came out with anything about that.
Talked at least 6 times to Vladimir Putin and never brought up the subject. Joe Biden would never do that.
Thank you.
Joe Biden would hold.
Joe
Russia
Biden can't read a
accountable
newspaper,
for
honey.
Any threat to our nation's security or to our troops who are sacrificing their lives for the sake of our democracy and our safety.
Thank you, Senator Harris. This is such an important issue, but we have other important issues as well. And
Susan,
I want to make sure we have a chance
I really have to
talk
respond
about.
to that.
I'm
Look, she has
15 seconds because
Well, I gotta
we're
have
trying
more
to.
than that. Look,
Well, I'm sorry, Vice President,
Look,
but you've had more time than she's had so
the
far.
slanders against President Donald Trump regarding men and women of our armed forces are absurd.
I'm sorry, Vice
My son
President
is a
Pence.
captain in the United
Yes.
States.
They're going
Marine
to cut him
Corps.
off.
My son-in-law is deployed in the United States Navy. I can assure all of you, with sons and daughters serving in our military, President Donald Trump not only respects but reveres all of those who serve in our armed forces, and any suggestion otherwise is ridiculous. Let
Thank
me
you,
also
Vice
say,
President Pence.
the
Vice
American
President
people
Pence,
deserve, Susan,
Vice
the American
President
people
Pence,
deserve to know.
Vice President Pence, I did not, excuse me,
Susan, the
I did
American
not
people
create
deserve
the
to know
rules for tonight.
Joe Biden
Your
and Trump.
campaigns agreed to the rules for
Well,
tonight.
screw my
The
campaign.
Commission on President's Debates. I'm here to enforce them, which involves moving from one topic to another, giving roughly equal time to both of you, which is what I'm trying very hard to
Go
do.
right ahead.
So I want to go ahead and move to the next topic, which is an important one, as the last topic was, and that is the Supreme Court. On Monday, the Senate Judiciary Committee is scheduled to open hearings on Amy Coney Barrett's nomination to the Supreme Court. Senator Harris, you'll be there as a member of the committee. Her confirmation would cement the court's conservative majority and make it likely open to more abortion restrictions, even to overturning the land.
You don't know that. You don't know any of this. That's just speculation and speculation from the court. Remember, Obamacare is going to get completely thrown out. Until you had, what's his
What would
name?
you want Indiana
Roberts.
to do?
You don't know any
Would
of
you
this.
want
We haven't even,
Indiana
we don't know who this woman
ban
is. I haven't even heard her
all
voice.
abortions? You have 2 minutes, uninterrupted.
Well, thank you for the question, but I'll use a little bit of my time to respond.
Abortion should be illegal.
The American people deserve to know.
Problem is, how are you going to deal with Roe versus
Soleimani,
Wade?
the Iranian general, was
The way they
responsible
manipulated the
for hundreds of
Constitution
American
is
service members.
almost,
When the opportunity came, we saw
pure
him go to
fantasy.
Baghdad to kill more Americans.
but at the same time, it's been argued and it's very well settled in the way everybody feels. There is a right to
You deserve know that
privacy,
Joe Biden
right?
and Kamala Harris.
You have a
actually
right to be left
criticized the
alone.
Decision to take out Solomon.
I think conservatives need to use Roe versus Wade
It's
on
really
their
inexplicable,
side
but with regard
and
to Joe
tell the
Biden,
liberals to
explain
go
that.
kiss
His
their.
history records that Joe Biden
Never mind.
actually opposed
Kamala
the
might
raid
do it.
against Osama bin Laden. It's absolutely essential that we have a commander-in-chief who will not hesitate to act to protect American lives and to protect American service members, and that's what you have in President Donald Trump. Now, with regard to the Supreme Court of the United States, let me say President Trump and I could not be more enthusiastic about the opportunity to see Judge Amy Coney Barrett become Justice Amy Coney Barrett. She's a brilliant woman, and she will bring a lifetime of experience and a sizable American family to the Supreme Court of the United States. And our hope is, in the hearing next week, unlike Justice Kavanaugh received with treatment from you and others, we hope she gets a fair hearing. And we particularly hope that we don't see the kind of attacks on her Christian faith that we saw before. I mean, the Democrat chairman of the Judiciary Committee before, when Judge Barrett was being confirmed for the Court of Appeals, expressed concern that the dogma of her faith
Dianne
was
Feinstein
loudly
sucks.
in her. Dick Durbin of Illinois said that it was a concern. Senator, I know one of our judicial nominees you actually attacked because they were a member of the Catholic Knights of Columbus, just because the Knights of Columbus holds pro-life views. And
Thank you.
pro-marriage views.
Thank you, Vice President
So
Pence. Your
my
time
hope
is
is
up.
that when the hearing takes place,
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
that Judge Amy Coney Barrett will be respected,
Thank you,
treated
Vice President
respectfully,
Pence.
voted and confirmed
Thank
to the
you.
Supreme Court of the United States.
Senator Harris, you're the senator from and former Attorney General of California. So let me ask you a parallel question to the one I posed to the Vice President. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, what would you want California to do? Would you want your home state to enact no restrictions on access to abortion? And you have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Thank you, Susan. First of all, Joe Biden and I are both people of faith.
Oh, yeah. What church you go
To
to?
suggest that we would knock anyone for their faith. And in fact, Joe, if elected, will be only the second practicing Catholic.
Yeah, Kennedy.
as
Bring
president
him
of the
up.
United States.
Can't have a debate without bringing up
On
John
the
F.
issue of
Kennedy,
this-
can you?
Of this nomination.
I hate
Joe and
John
I are
Kennedy.
very
What did he
clear,
ever
as are the majority
do?
of the American people.
Screw up the Bay of
We
Pigs?
are 27 days before the decision.
Oh,
about
he
who will be
reduced
the next
taxes, I
president of the
think.
United States.
That's
And,
not
you
a
know,
major
before,
achievement,
when this
though.
conversation has come up, you know, it's been about election year or election time. We're literally in an election. Over 4 million people have voted. People are in the process of voting right now. And so
If they're
Joe
voting
has been very
before the
clear,
debates,
as the American people are.
then
Let
why are we
the
having
American
debates?
people fill
That's the
that
whole
seat in
thing.
the
These
White
are all
House,
fake. It's all
and then we'll
fake.
fill
The
that
whole
seat on the
thing is,
United
it's all
States
about,
Supreme Court. And to your point,
you know, at the end of the day,
the issues
it's
before us
getting
couldn't
your
be more
voter to the
serious.
poll.
There's
Doesn't
the
matter
issue
if they're
of
dead or
choice,
not.
and I will always fight for a woman's right to make a decision about her own body. It should be her decision and not that of Donald Trump and the Vice President, Michael Pence. But let's also look at what else is before the court. It's the Affordable Care Act. Like, literally in the midst of a public health pandemic, when over 210,000 people have died and 7 million
You're going back to
people
these numbers. You know what? I bet
probably
you
have what will be
anything,
in the future
they're not
some
real.
pre-existing condition because you contracted the virus. Donald Trump is in court right now trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. And I said it before, and it
Did I
proves
hit
to
rewind?
me. This means that there will be no more
I mean, she's already.
protections if they win for people with pre-existing conditions. This means that over
He just
20 million
signed an
people will
executive
lose their
order
coverage. It
protecting
means that if
pre-existing
you're under the age
conditions.
of 26, you can't stay on your parents' coverage anymore. And here's the thing.
You know,
The
why
contract
should
can be more
you?
clear. They're
Why
trying to
should
get rid
you?
of the Affordable Care Act. Joe Biden is saying, let's expand coverage. Let's give you a choice of a public
Thank you,
option or
Senator.
private coverage. Let's bring down premiums.
Senator
Let's
Harris.
lower Medicare eligibility to 60.
Thank you.
But
Senator.
she,
true leadership.
wait a second here.
You know,
This chick is
you
a law
mentioned,
graduate.
earlier,
Where'd she go to
Vice
school?
President
Where
Pence,
did she
that
go
the
to school
president is
at? I
committed
gotta find this one out.
to maintaining protections for people with pre-existing conditions. But you do have this court case that you are supporting, your administration supporting, that would strike down the Affordable Care Act. The president says, President Trump says that he's going to protect people with pre-existing conditions, but he has not explained how he would do that. And that was one of the toughest nuts to crack.
What,
when they were
you ever
passing
see
Affordable Care Act.
UC
So tell us
Hastings?
specifically, how would
Never
your
heard of it.
administration protect Americans with pre-existing
Never heard of
conditions
UC
to have
Hastings.
access to affordable insurance?
University of California
if the
Hastings. I don't even know where it is
Affordable
on
Care
map.
Act is struck down?
She graduated from a law school I've never heard
Well,
of.
thank you, Susan. But
That
let me
is
just say,
funny to me.
addressing your very first question.
I
couldn't be more
embrace
proud
my
to serve
law
as
school that you
Vice
never heard
President
of.
a president who stands without apology for the sanctity of human life. I'm
But
pro-life.
I chose very
I
different
don't apologize
paths.
for it.
I didn't go to learn how to
And this
suck
is another one of those cases where there's such a dramatic
up to people to
contrast.
vote.
Joe
for.
Biden and Kamala Harris support taxpayer funding of abortion all the way up to the moment
That's
of
true.
birth. Late-term abortion. They want
Why
to
you
increase
shake your
funding to Planned
head all you
Parenthood
want to,
for
Kamala?
Americans.
Okay, right now,
And for our
say
part,
that you do
I would
not
never
support
presume how Judge Amy Coney
taxpayer
Barrett
funded
ruled on
abortion.
the Supreme Court of the United States, but we'll continue to stand strong for the right to life. When you speak about the Supreme Court, though, I think the American people really deserve an answer, Senator Harris. Are you and Joe Biden going to pack the court if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed? I mean, there have been 29 vacancies on the Supreme Court during presidential election years, from George Washington to Barack Obama. Presidents have nominated in all 29 cases. But your party is actually openly advocating adding seats to the Supreme Court, which has had 9 seats for 150 years, if you don't get your way. This is a classic case of if you can't win by the rules, you're going to change the rules. Now, you've refused to answer the question. Joe Biden has refused to answer the question. So I think the American people would really like to know, if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed at the Supreme Court of the United States, are you and Joe Biden, if somehow you win this election, going to pack the Supreme Court to get your way?
I'm so glad we went through a little history lesson. Let's do that a little more. In 1866,
Well, I need to
Bill,
answer the
what-
question.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
I'm speaking.
In
I hate her.
1864,
God, she's like a
one of
school
the,
teacher,
I
or
think, political
she, oh my
journalists
God,
for the
oh my
president, I
God, she
assume
remembers,
also
or she
Mr.
reminds me
Vice
of
President, is Abraham Lincoln.
just awful,
Abraham Lincoln was up for
heinous
re-election.
girls in college and
And it
stuff.
was
Like they thought they
27
knew
days before the
everything.
election. And a seat became open on the United States Supreme Court. Abraham Lincoln's party was in charge not only of the White House, but the Senate. But Honest Abe said it's not the right thing to do. The American people deserve to make the decision about who will be the next president of the United States.
What'd she
And
say?
then that person can
I was
select
talking.
who will serve for a lifetime on the highest court.
Honest
of
Abe,
our nation.
you know the country
And so
split
Joe
under
Biden
Honest
believes
Abe. How honest
The
was he?
American people are voting right now, and it should be their decision about who will serve on this most important body for a lifetime.
Thank you,
And
Senator
the
Harris.
people, Susan, are voting right now. They'd like to know if you and Joe Biden are going to pack the Supreme Court if you don't
Yeah,
get
it's a
your way
simple
in this
question.
nomination.
Let's talk about
You
packing.
once
Come
again
on.
gave a non-answer. Joe Biden gave a non-answer.
She won't answer.
you
The American
now.
people deserve a straight answer. And if you haven't figured it out yet, the straight answer is they are going to pack the Supreme Court if they somehow win this election. Men and
Mr.
women,
Vice President,
I got to tell you, people across this country, if you cherish our Supreme Court, if you cherish the separation of powers, you need to reject the Biden-Harris ticket. Come November the 3rd, re-elect President Donald Trump, and we'll stand by that separation of powers in a 9-seat Supreme
Pence
Court.
just
Yeah,
won
let's
it.
talk about
Boom,
packing the court then.
boom.
Let's talk about the
Please.
fact. Yeah, I'm about to.
I'm about to.
So, the Trump.
She doesn't even know what she's gonna say. She has to think
has
it.
been, because I sit on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Susan, as you mentioned, and I've witnessed the appointments for lifetime appointments to the federal courts, district courts, courts of appeal. People who are purely ideological, people who have been reviewed by legal
You're still not
professional
answering the question.
organizations and found to have been not competent, are substandard. And do you know that of the 50 people who President Trump appointed to the Court of Appeals for lifetime appointments, not one is black?
Who does that have to do with
You
anything?
want to talk about packing a court? Let's have that.
What?
discussion.
All right, thank you, Senator.
What?
Let's go on and talk about the issue of racial.
What does that have?
I
You
just want
didn't
the
answer the
record to reflect you
question.
never
You
answered.
turned around to racism.
But the American
Race,
people
that
next
just
to
shows that
Joe
you
Biden
people that say
Thank you.
racist or racism
Thank you, Vice
are saying that they're too stupid.
In March,
They've lost the
Breonna Taylor,
argument.
a 26-year-old
This is the
emergency
oldest trick in the
technician
book.
Louisville was
I cannot
shot and killed
believe how long that's
after
been
police
talked about.
officers
Oh, as
executing
soon
a
as you
search
say
warrant on
racism,
narcotics
I
investigation
immediately
focused on
know
apartments.
you have lost the
police
argument.
said they
Thank you very
identified
much.
themselves. Taylor's boyfriend
Ah!
said he didn't hear them do that. He used a gun registered to him to fire a shot, which wounded an officer. The officers then fired more than 20 rounds into the apartment. They say they were acting in self-defense. None of them have been indicted in connection with her death. Senator Harris, in the case of Breonna Taylor, was justice done? You have 2 minutes.
I don't believe so. And I've talked with Breonna's mother, Tamika Palmer, and her family. And her family deserves justice. She was a beautiful young woman. She had as her life goal to become a nurse, and she wanted to become an EMT to first learn what's going on out on the street so she could then become a nurse and save lives. And her life was taken unjustifiably and tragically and violently. And it brings me to, you know, the 8 minutes and 46 seconds that America witnessed, during which an American man was tortured and killed under the knee of an armed, uniformed
Is she talking about
police officer.
Benghazi?
And people around our country,
Is this
of
Benghazi?
every race, of every age, of every
Are you talking about
country,
Benghazi,
perfect
Kamala?
strangers to each other, marched shoulder to shoulder, arm in
Kamala,
arm,
are you talking about Benghazi?
fighting for us to finally achieve that ideal of equal justice under law. And I was a part of those peaceful protests. And I believe strongly that, first of all, we are never going to condone violence, but we always must fight for the values that we hold dear, including the fight to achieve our ideals. And that's why Joe Biden and I have said on this subject, look, and I'm a former career prosecutor. I know what I'm talking about.
I'm a former career prosecutor.
We need reform.
That's not how that works.
You
You can't be a career prosecutor, former,
immediately ban chokeholds
and then like be a senator and not run for vice president. You're retired, but you weren't career.
For police
It wasn't your
officers
full
breaking the
time.
law.
I mean, that's just
We
so
will,
stupid.
on the issue of criminal justice
You just
reform, get rid of
Willie Brown gave you
private
syphilis.
prisons and cash bail, and
Thank
we
you.
will decriminalize marijuana, and
Thank
we
you,
will
Senator Harris.
we will expunge the records of those who have
Thank you,
been
Senator
convicted
Harris.
of marijuana. This is
Thank
a
you,
time
Senator
for
Harris.
leadership on a tragic issue
Senator Harris,
of
your time is
unarmed
up.
Black people in America who have
Thank you,
been
Senator
killed.
Harris. Vice President Pence, let me pose the same question to you. In the case of Breonna Taylor, was justice done? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Well, our heart breaks for the loss of any innocent American life. And the family of Breonna Taylor has our sympathies. But I trust our justice system, a grand jury that refused the evidence. And it really is remarkable that as a former prosecutor, you would assume that an impaneled grand jury looking at all the evidence got it wrong. But you're entitled to your opinion, Senator. I think, look, and with regard to George Floyd, there's no excuse for what happened to George Floyd. And justice will be served. But there's also no excuse for the rioting and looting that followed. I mean, it really is astonishing. Flora Westbrook is with us here tonight in Salt Lake City. Just a few weeks ago, I stood at what used to be her salon. Was burned to the ground by rioters and looters. And Flora is still trying to put her life back together. And I must tell you, this presumption that you hear consistently from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, that America is systemically racist, and that, as Joe Biden said, that he believes that law enforcement has an implicit bias against minorities, is a great insult.
So James Woods has just put up that Kamala Harris said, "I'm in favor of banning fracking," on video.
Stand with you. And it is remarkable that when Senator Tim Scott tried to pass a police reform bill, brought together a group of Republicans and Democrats, Senator Harris, you got up and walked out of the room. And then you filibustered
Which is it?
Tim Scott's bill on the Senate floor. That
So either she has upset her base, her environmental base, or
enforcement, improving public safety, and supporting our African
she is
neighbors and all of our minorities. Under President Trump's
ticking off the blue-collar workers. I mean, man, these states are making a mint, too. I mean, if you want to make money, go to
record unemployment,
the Rocky Mountains. Go to fracking. It's unbelievable how much money's out there.
Thank you, Vice
I'd
President.
like to respond.
Golly, man, this
I will
is...
not sit here and be lectured by the Vice President.
I will not sit and be
what it
lectured by a
means
white
to
man.
enforce the laws of our country. I am the only one on this stage who has personally prosecuted everything from child sexual assault to homicide. I'm the only one on this stage who has prosecuted the big banks for taking advantage of America's homeowners. I'm the only one on this stage who prosecuted for-profit colleges for taking advantage of our veterans. And the reality of this is that we are talking about an election in 27 days, where last
fly
week,
landed on
the
Pence's
President
head.
of the United States took a debate stage in front of 70 million Americans and refused to condemn white supremacists.
Not true.
And
Not true.
it wasn't like he didn't have a chance. He didn't do it, and then he doubled down. And then he said, when pressed, stand back, stand by. And this is a part of a pattern.
Why is there a fly on Pence's
of
head?
Donald Trump's. He called Mexicans racist
That fly
and
is
criminals.
just popped. I hope it lands
He
in her mouth.
instituted as his first act a Muslim ban. He on the issue of Charlottesville, where people were peacefully protesting the need for racial justice, where a young woman was killed, and on the other side there were neo-Nazis.
Yeah, and the guy who organized Charlottesville has endorsed Joe Biden.
Anti-Semitic slurs, and Donald Trump, when asked about it, said there were fine people on both sides.
Read the Time. Time magazine has the whole thing on that.
Better. Joe Biden will be a president.
It's not at all what he said. That is such a blatant lie. How can you say that? Why would you bring that up? Why would you bring up something that you can be proven as a lie as a debate? You know, she ought to lose her law
Appreciate that
license.
very much. You know, I think this is one of the things that makes people dislike the media so much in this country, Susan, is that you selectively edit, just like Senator Harris did, comments that President Trump and I and others on our side of the aisle make. I mean, Senator Harris conveniently omitted, after the president made comments about people on either side of the debate over monuments, he condemned the KKK, neo-Nazis, and white supremacists, and has done so repeatedly.
He actually went after prosecuting them too.
President Trump has Jewish grandchildren. His daughter and son-in-law are Jewish.
Yeah.
This is a president who respects and cherishes all of the American people.
All
But you
life.
talk about having personally prosecuted. I'm glad you brought up your record, Senator.
Thank you.
But I really need to make this point. When you were DA in San Francisco, when you left office, African Americans were 19 times more likely to be prosecuted for minor drug offenses than whites and Hispanics. When you were Attorney General of California,
Thank you,
you
Vice President.
increased the disproportionate incarceration of
Thank you.
blacks in California.
Yeah.
You did nothing on criminal justice reform in California.
It's
You didn't
true.
lift a finger to
you.
pass the First Step Back on Capitol Hill. I mean, the reality is your record
Thank
speaks
you,
for
Vice
itself.
President
President
Pence.
Trump and I have fought for criminal justice reform.
Thank you, Vice
We've
President
fought for
Pence.
educational choice and opportunities for African Americans, all of our
Thank you,
minorities,
sir.
and we'll do it for 4 more
Thank you.
years.
You know, there is no more important issue than the final issue that we're going to talk about tonight, and that is the issue of the election
But
itself.
Susan, he attacked my record. I would like an opportunity to respond.
Let me give you 30 seconds because we're running out of
I
time.
appreciate that. First of all, having served as the Attorney General of the state of California, the work that I did is a model of what our nation needs to do, and we will be able to do under a Joe Biden presidency. Our agenda includes what this administration has failed to do. It will be about not only instituting a ban on chokeholds and carotid holes.
Thank you.
Not only,
Thank you, Senator.
I would
Harris.
like to go through.
These are points.
I would
that
like
you
to go
made earlier,
through.
and I want to
No,
talk
she
about
acts like
the
a
election
victim.
itself
This is the
before we-
whole
But
thing.
I
She
wanna
acts like
talk
that's how
about
she gets
the
ahead is
connection between what Joe and I
victimhood.
was
God, I
doing on
hate
record,
this.
which
I hate
includes
this. I hate these
I
kind of
was the
checks.
first
They suck.
state
I
law
need
officer
a
that
bitch.
instituted the
I'd like to go
requirement that
through.
my agents wear body cameras and keep them on full time. We were the first.
Oh,
to
we were the
initiate
first for
a
body cameras.
requirement that there
Body
be a
cameras is
training for
becoming
law
the vice
enforcement that
presidential debate.
implicit
That's the
bias,
first.
because, yes, Joe
That was
Biden
the
and
first.
I
Being first
recognize
doesn't mean
that
that you're the
implicit bias
best.
does exist,
Doesn't mean you're the
Vice
worst.
President,
It just means
contrary to
that
what you may believe.
somebody
We
saw a
did the
problem.
of
It may not
instituting
even have been a
reforms that
problem.
were about investing in
Being
land.
first doesn't mean
This is the
anything.
work that we have
I
done
mean,
and the work
who
we
wants
will
to be
do
the
going forward.
first
And
to
again,
get
I will not
AIDS?
be lectured by the vice president
Jeez.
on our record of what we have done in terms of law enforcement and keeping our communities safe, and a commitment to reforming the criminal justice system.
Nobody's ever
Thank
thought
you,
about
Senator
California
Harris.
as
And I'd
being
like
this
to pose
safe
the
mecca, I don't
first-
think.
I'd like you to respond first to the question on our final topic, the election itself. President Trump has several times refused to commit himself to a peaceful transfer of power after the election.
Oh,
If his ticket
jeez.
wins and President Trump refuses to accept a peaceful transfer of power, what steps would you and Vice President Biden then take? What would happen next? You
Oh,
have
this
2
is
minutes.
funny.
So I'll tell you, Joe and I are particularly
Don't entertain it.
proud of
Are you really going to
the
entertain
coalition that
this?
we've built around our campaign. We probably have one of the broadest coalitions of folks that you've ever seen. In
If she
president.
entertains this,
Of
it's
course, we have
over.
the support of Democrats, but also
Oh, it's
independents
over.
and Republicans. In fact,
Okay.
7 members of President George W. Bush's cabinet are supporting our ticket. We have the support of
I thought George W. Bush was it was his fault and war
over
crimes
500,
and all that stuff.
generals, retired generals, and former national security experts and
cares?
advisors are supporting our campaign.
Answer the
Now,
question.
they are doing that because they know that Joe Biden has a deep, deep-seated commitment to fight for our democracy and to fight for the integrity of our democracy and to bring integrity back to the White House.
Okay.
And so we believe in the
Answer the
American
question.
people. We believe in our democracy. And here's what I'd like to say to everybody. Vote. Please vote. Vote early.
You didn't answer
Some
the
of you plan
question.
to vote. Go to iwillvote.com.
That was her.
You
That
can
was how
also
she
go
got
to
out. She didn't answer the question.
joebiden.com. We
Jeez,
have
that's the
within our
worst. You know,
power
she
in
shows
these
that. She
27
said,
days
you know, we don't really
to
consider
make
that
a
to be
decision
what's going to
about what will
happen.
be
Okay.
the course
And
of our country for the next
I mean,
4
that's just.
years. And it is
Let's get to
within
something
our
more
power, and if
serious.
we use our vote and we
Trump's
use
not
our
that
voice,
way. Come on, people.
we will win. And we will not let anyone subvert
Joe
our
Biden.
democracy
Who wants
with
him
what Donald Trump has been
controlling
doing,
the
as he did on the
nukes?
debate stage last
I mean,
week,
I'm using the exact same
again in
thing.
front of
Remember
60 million
when Trump
people,
tweeted out Kofefe?
he
The
openly
liberals went nuts. They're like, he
attempted
can't
to
even do
suppress the vote.
spell check on Twitter,
Joe
and
Biden,
he's
on the other
he's
hand,
in
on that
control
same
of the
debate stage,
nuclear
because clearly Donald Trump
arsenal.
doesn't think he can run on the record because it's a failed record.
That was
Joe
them
Biden on
reading.
that stage said, hey, just please vote. So I'll repeat what Joe said. Please vote.
Thank you, Senator. Vice President.
Say it
Trump-
ain't so,
President
Joe.
Trump has several times refused to commit himself to a peaceful transfer of power after the election. If Vice President Biden is declared the winner and President Trump refuses to accept a peaceful transfer of power, what would be your role and responsibility as Vice President? What would
You're
you
talking make-believe, hon.
personally do? You have 2 minutes.
Well, Susan, first and foremost, I think we're going to win this election.
Yeah, it's not gonna matter. I'm gonna win.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris rattle off a long litany of the establishment in Washington, D.C., an establishment that Joe Biden's been a part of for 47 years.
Pence really is a smart dude.
Has launched a movement of everyday Americans from every walk of life. And I have every confidence that those same Americans that delivered that historic victory in 2016, they see this president's record where we rebuild our military. We revived our economy through tax cuts and rolling back regulation, fighting for fair trade, unleashing American energy. We appointed conservatives to our federal courts at every level. And we stood with the men and women of law enforcement every single day.
God,
That
Mela.
movement of Americans has only grown stronger in the last 4
I
years.
mean, what is wrong?
When you talk about
You've got
accepting
just
the
something
outcome,
wrong. I mean,
I must
she
tell you,
was screwing Willie Brown to
your
get
party has spent the last 2.5
fundraiser
years
money in
trying to
San
overturn the
Francisco.
results of the last election.
That's how she got her start.
It's amazing.
Jeez.
When Joe Biden was vice president,
Not from
of the
being
United
some
States,
wow
the
me
FBI actually
lawyer.
spied on President
She didn't know
Biden
what
and
she's
my
doing.
campaign. I mean, there were documents released this
You know
week
what?
that the
I
CIA
would love to
actually
hear what the
made a
men had to say
referral,
that worked for her.
to the FBI documenting that those allegations were coming from the Hillary Clinton campaign. And of course, we've all seen the avalanche, what you put the country through for the better part of 3 years
It's true.
until it was found that there was no obstruction, no collusion, case closed.
Oh, I love it on the
Senator
Donald.
Harris, you and
Good
your
Lord,
colleagues
this
in
man is murdering a woman on live TV and no one is stopping it. It's a picture of Pence.
over a And now Hillary Clinton has actually said to Joe Biden that in her words, under no circumstances should he concede the election. So Let me just say, I think we're going to win this.
Yeah,
election.
Hillary did
President
say
Trump
that.
and I are fighting every day in courthouses to prevent Joe Biden and Kamala Harris from changing
I
the
gotta go
rules
sign
and
up
creating
for
this universal
Lawyers
mail-in
for
voting
Trump.
that'll create a massive opportunity for voter fraud. We have a free and fair election. We know we're going to have confidence in it. And I believe in all my heart that President Donald Trump's going to be reelected for 4 more years.
You know, I've written all the questions that I've asked tonight, but for the final question of the debate, I'd like to read a question that someone else wrote. The Utah Debate Commission asked students in the state to write essays about what they would like to ask you. And I want to close tonight's debate with the question posed by Brecklin Brown. She's an 8th grader at Springville Junior High in Springville, Utah. And here's what she wrote, quote, "When I watch the news, all I see is arguing between Democrats and Republicans. When I watch the news, all I see is citizen fighting against citizen. When I watch the news, all I see are 2 candidates from opposing parties trying to tear each other down. If our leaders can't get along, how are the citizens supposed to get along?" And then she added, "Your examples could make all the difference to bring us together," end quote. So to each of you in turn, I'd like you to take 1 minute and respond to Brecklin. Vice President Pence, you have 1 minute.
Brecklin, it's a wonderful question. And let me just commend you for taking an interest in public life. I started following the news when I was very young. And in America, we believe in a free and open exchange of debate. And we celebrate that. And it's how we've created literally the freest and most prosperous nation in the history of the world. But I would tell you that don't assume that what you're seeing on your local news networks is synonymous with the American people. You know, I look at the relationship between Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the late justice who we just lost from the Supreme Court, and the late Justice Antonin Scalia. They were on polar opposites on the Supreme Court of the United States, one very liberal, one very conservative. But what's been learned since her passing was the 2 of them and their families were the very closest of friends. I mean, here in America,
Who's
we can
Scalia and
disagree.
Ginsburg?
We can debate vigorously as Senator Harris.
They're watching out for each other's
on this
back.
stage tonight. But when the debate is over, we come together as Americans. And that's what people do in big cities and small towns all across this country. So I just want to encourage you, Brecklin. I want to tell you that we're going to work every day to have government as good as our people. And the American people each and every day love a good debate. We love a good argument. But we always come together and are always there.
That's true.
Thank you.
The debate's great. The debate is absolutely, it's so quintessentially American. But now it's
Senator
just
Harris,
hate,
what would you
hate,
say
hate,
to
hate.
Brecklin?
First of all, I love hearing from our young leaders. And when I hear her words, when I hear your words, Brecklin, I know our future is bright because it is that perspective on who we are and who we should be. That is a sign of leadership and is something we should all aspire to be. And that, you know, that brings me to Joe. Joe Biden, one of the reasons that Joe decided to run for president is after Charlottesville, which we talked about earlier. It so troubled him and upset him like it did all of us, that there was that kind of hate and division. What propelled Joe to run for president was to see that over the course of the last 4 years, what Brecklin described has been happening. Joe has a long-standing reputation of working across the aisle and working in a bipartisan way. And that's what he's going to do as president. Joe Biden has a history of lifting people up and fighting for their dignity. I mean, you have to know Joe's story to know that Joe has known pain, he has known suffering, and he has known love. And so, Brecklin, when you think about the future, I do believe the future is bright. And it will be because of your leadership, and it will be because we fight for each person's voice through their vote, and we get engaged in this election because you have the ability through your work and through eventually your vote to determine the future of our country and what its leadership looks like.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Thank you, Vice President Pence. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. We want to thank also the University of Utah for its hospitality And most of all, our thanks to all the Americans who watched this debate tonight. Again, our best wishes for a quick
That's cool.
recovery to President Trump, the First Lady, and everyone who is battling COVID-19. The second presidential debate is next week on October 15th, a town hall style debate in Miami. We hope you'll join us then. Good evening.
Yay, it's over. I finally got my thing to work after forever. I think it stopped again. Wait a second. Hello? Is it showing? Oh, there you go. Ha! I couldn't see it move on the screen. I was talking about the little voice thingy. The little TriStar there. All right. Mike Pence is awesome. He is winning. Everybody else is losing. That's all you need to know. And Mike Pence is race banning. You need to know that too. All right. Sorry, tonight sucked as far as getting it started, but it's all work in progress. Peace.